Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Color X Malice along Kei Okazaki's route. So, Kei has discovered our color, and he doesn't know the exact deal with it. Hopefully I'll be able to explain the situation to him, because Adonis did speak to him through the collar. Or Zero probably did. But hopefully he'll be understanding, and we won't become estranged. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. I live where that horrible incident happened. I'm afraid and I want to move, but I need help. I'd like you to find me a new residence. What the hell? We're not a real estate company. I apologize, miss, but that's outside the scope of problems that the police office is able to address. It's your job to protect the citizens, isn't it? What'll you do if I get caught in one of these crimes next time? Aw man, so we're totally skipping the aftermath of that thing. And we'll talk about what happened later. I don't like that. I'm very sorry.
I keep hearing explosions in my head. I can't sleep. Why didn't you stop this crime?
Sir, you're absolutely right. We're doing all we can to stop these crimes.
Bah! Nothing but a bunch of empty words. Hurry up and fix this.
I sighed helplessly as I wearily finished processing the last of the day's incessant calls from the citizens. They were all regarding the new X-Day crime that just occurred yesterday. I kept busy, but all I could think about was what had happened.
So, the color's being used to threaten you.
I was trembling too much to give an answer, but I managed to nod at him. After letting out a small sigh, Okazaki quietly lowered his gun.
Are the terrorists forcing you to feed them intel about the police?
Even if I wasn't actively doing so long as I had this collar, that's what was happening. I almost started to explain, but then I swallowed my words. Right now, anything I said would just sound like an excuse.
If they're threatening you, they must be holding some weakness of yours.
Just my life. There's a poison injector in this collar. If I tell the police, I'll be killed immediately. I felt disillusion just saying it aloud. Up until now, I thought that I was personally keyed to cracking the X-Day incidents wide open. Somehow. I figured that if I had a connection to the criminals behind the collar, I had a lead. But it was really just my own pride saying that. I say that I want to protect the people who have been hurt as a police officer. But I honestly just didn't want to die. That was truly the strongest motivation I had.
It must be scary to be threatened with poison. Then again, it makes sense to do that.
Huh?
Did they do anything to you first to prove that the poison is real?
Yes, they gave me a dose of slow-acting poison first.
I see. That angle won't help then.
His tone was sympathetic, but I thought I could see disappointment in Okazaki's eyes. Maybe I wasn't imagining it. I had no idea how he thought of me right now. But I was afraid of disappointing him.
Still, I can't tell whether or not what you said just now is true or not. If you told me that you were a spy, I'd be just as likely to believe that too.
Well, I am a spy, but not on purpose. His eyes were full of caution. It felt like they were piercing through me. I couldn't force myself to move or even just breathe. It's already been a week. I haven't seen Okazaki since then. Oh, he has become the absentee boyfriend. He had always been kind and friendly to me, so maybe I'd felt dependent on him. From the start, he had been a loyal police officer. It was reasonable for him to feel hostile towards someone who could be linked with terrorists. But if he had actually shown me a little bit of his trust, then I had betrayed him.
You're a kind and straightforward girl. Your ability to think of others' pain as your own really isn't a bad trait. But Ichika, don't forget your main duty. The time will come when you have to decide what you need to let go of in order to get what you actually wish for.
I'd been fixated on the idea of being a police officer, and he'd encouraged me repeatedly. I betrayed someone who cared so much for me. Mochida had noticed the commotion after the altercation, and he and Okazaki had helped to take Sugawara into custody. I forgot about that. I was wondering what happened to Mochida during all that. Then he had left without a word about the incident. He didn't even out me to Mochida. Rika Sugawara had been arrested, not for interfering with my police duties, but as the perpetrator of the arson murder on the 8th. Well, they could have also got her with attempting to murder a police officer. But during interviews, she had become frightened and distracted, vehemently insisting that she knew nothing. When I heard that, I thought something was off. Oh, did the chip already activate and she's lost her memory? According to Shiraishi, during the interrogations, I don't know. I really don't know anything. Yes, it's true that I've been a stalking victim of both Shimizu and Kiga. It was frightening and disgusting, and the police wouldn't believe me. So many times I wished for death, for peace. But I've never wanted to kill either of them. That's the truth. Of course I didn't actually kill them. That's obvious. There's no way I could do that. Not the way that I feel. There's just no way. I was always too scared. If I fought back, I would be killed. No, I'm sure I'd meet a fate worse than death. I'd live and be locked up and tortured. Sure, it could definitely be a lot scarier than just living. But if I was killed, then all those long years I spent enduring that pain would be completely meaningless. Evidence? Adonis? Announcement? I told you I don't know anything about that. I've never seen or heard any of those things. Please, let me go home. I'm scared. I don't want this. I'm scared. Someone. Anyone help. Oh, but if I go home, then another creep will just show up and follow me again. So, maybe it's better if I'm locked up as a criminal. That's right. My life was ruined long ago. I don't know anything, but it's fine. I don't care. Arrest me and do whatever you want. God doesn't exist. Nobody's coming to help me. I'll never love anyone. Enough already.
We kept observing her, but it seems she's not lying. Nothing she said contradicts the facts about her past stalking incidents, and she can't hide her strong feelings about the subject.
What about the X-Day cases?
Her insistence that she knows nothing about them is equally genuine.
But when I talked to her, she wasn't even trying to hide her involvement. She visibly didn't care that she would be arrested for it. And she indicated that she knew about my collar, the countdown, this 0, and some kind of target. Most of all, she said that she found someone she loved. That he saved her, like he was a god. That person was most likely the Adonis member who'd brought her into the fold. I hadn't sensed any dishonesty in the way she talked and acted about her beloved. But in the interview she'd said, God doesn't exist. Nobody's coming to help me. I'll never love anyone.
It's like she's a completely different person now.
A different person?
Well, if she said that she was fine with being captured, isn't that the answer right there?
Huh?
She was confident that she wouldn't leak any detailed information on Adonis after her arrest. Absolutely confident.
That means...
her memories have been erased.
July update added to materials? The seemingly random suggestion was hard to believe, but it was consistent with the facts. Moreover, the suspect arrested for the shooting death on the 7th had refused to speak to the police, and more recently had fallen into a similar state. Only the portion of her memories related to Adonis have been erased. One could infer that Sugawara wasn't in Adonis's leadership corps, even if she was tied to them. Furthermore, the X-Day countdown had continued even after she was arrested. That incident. Several office workers had fallen off a rooftop on the 11th. No, someone had pushed them to their deaths. On the 15th, the Tokyo Metropolitan Office had been bombed, resulting in numerous deaths. A coin had been left at each scene, along with the Roman numeral 1. All of the incidents in December had been accompanied by the 1 countdown. We'd assumed that Sugawara would give up some intel on Adonis if she was related to them. But she could just be a disposable pawn, and there were likely many other such agents. Investigations HQ was too understaffed to deal with the scale and frequency of the attacks. SRCPO was being deployed in crisis mode, tasked with gathering as much information as possible. We had no time to investigate past crimes, and of course, I didn't look into removing my collar. I'm tired.
Here in body, but not in spirit, eh?
Eh? Oh, Shiraishi, what are you doing here? I miss you so much.
I'm just passing through. You were looking rather grim, so it aroused my curiosity.
It's so like you not to actually be worried about me.
Here's a theory. Did someone find out?
Huh? He was looking at my neck as he broached the taboo subject. I involuntarily sucked in a breath.
I see. I'm right.
How did you know?
But the fact that you're still safe means they've either given you a grace period, or the person who found out was allowed to know.
Shiraishi was lost in thought as he analyzed me. I avoided meeting his eyes. There was no point in lying to Shiraishi. The best I could do was avoid telling him too much.
But you look disquieted mentally.
He knows that much? I couldn't ask for help, or even get angry. I just kept my silence.
You should visit the office for a break someday. I'm sure Yanagi and company are feeling lonely.
Yeah, I really ought to be hanging out with them more. Why haven't I been? Shouldn't I have been, reporting stuff to them? With that parting piece of advice, Shiraishi jauntily departed. Maybe that remark was him showing concern. He could also be telling me to consult Yanagi's team for advice. But, with uncanny timing, a new message arrived just as I let out a deep breath. Huh? It's from Yanagi. What a coincidence. Yanagi, we were just talking about you.
Can you come by the office today? We want to ask about the July case.
I have been sharing information with them since the murder started anew, but I hadn't seen them in person. So we have been talking to them. That's good. Much better. Work had been too busy, and to be honest, I didn't want to go to the office. There was a good chance that I'd run into Okazaki. Oh, you don't want to see him? So we've been avoiding him as much as he's been avoiding us? I didn't want him to look at me with that icy stare again.
But the fact that you're still safe means they've either given you a grace period, or the person who found out was allowed to know.
Shiraishi's analysis had been dead on. I'd only been given a grace period. The criminal behind the collar was probably determining whether Okazaki could be trusted with the information. I can't carry this on my own anymore. I wanted to speak with people who were familiar with the situation. Yeah, you should probably let them all know. Maybe they might even invite Okazaki into the fold for this. Understood. I'll stop by when work permits. I sent a reply and returned to my work with a heavy heart. Come on, Okazaki, you know that I'm not a bad person. You were able to sleep on my shoulder, remember? You sensed danger and you didn't even wake up in the alley when I almost poked you. Threatened. It had been a week since I pointed my gun at her. She didn't seem like she was acting. Her terrified eyes were still filled with emotion. A poisoned collar. I certainly wasn't expecting that. I figured that she had some circumstance that led her to work with IG's team. Of course, I had reported her to my superiors the next day, and cautiously observed her for the next few following that. But as I got to know her, all I learned was that she was someone who wasn't any real threat. She didn't show a hint of malice. There's a chance that this has been an elaborate lie from the start, but my instincts told me that it was an extremely small possibility. I knew this because we were polar opposites. Because I knew my own personality well, I was sure that she wasn't the type of person who could concoct lies easily. But that means she's... If I were to tell a lie that hurt you, what would you do? I feel the same way. The things I'm trying to protect are very important to me. No, you were just worried. Thank you for holding my hand. Okazaki, you're strong.
She'd been saddled with a poisoned collar and threatened, yet she had persisted in trying to solve the case and doing her police duty, probably all while feeling a sense of guilt. I knew it once I pointed a gun at her. She hadn't tried to make any excuses. You're the strong one. Mentally, I laughed bitterly. I felt that the premonition I'd had in my mind was beginning to coalesce in reality.
What is this premonition?
Listen, sir, I finally got my hands on it. Why are you spacing out with that melancholy look? Come over here, look at this. Ta-da! Konyaku-flavored calorie blocks. You've always wanted to try them, sir.
Oh, are you trying to cheer him up? You're such a sweet little partner.
Yeah. Only you would ever want to eat a mystery food like this. I'm glad I got it before it sold out.
Yeah, nice.
That was kinda weak, sir. Well then, how about this? Boom! Shinshu miso stew. I've heard from people who've tried it that it's got a really intense flavor.
Is that so? Looking forward to it.
Oh, come on. He's trying so hard to please you. Notice him, senpai. Notice him.
This one's no good too? Then, how about my grand finale? Dun dun dun! Sea cucumber potato chips. A perfect creation of that marine scent. I'm always telling you this, just to be clear. I don't want any of this stuff. So, don't you force me to eat it like you always do. You better not, okay? Don't do it, bro.
There's two faces he made, the one right before this. Oh, God. I love you, Hideaki. You're so cute in like that kid way.
Thanks.
I really tried to sell this one. The Okazaki I know just smiles without a word and shoves it into my mouth. What's wrong with you, sir? You're super down. What happened?
He's confused about the love of his life.
I'm fine. Just thinking.
Come over here for a second.
Back into the alley?
Are you sure you're all right, sir?
What is it?
You've been brooding more than usual lately.
You've been spacing out this whole time. Well, you usually look kind of like that, but you just don't have your normal spirit. You're not trying to put me in a headlock. You're not eating any weird snacks. Your replies are all tossed off, and you're not sleeping in the street.
He's not doing anything weird. There's something wrong with him.
Most of all, you're really creepy. Or more like, scary when you're not smiling.
I don't feel sick.
That's not it. Man, even your comebacks are weak today. Are you feeling lost or something? You're always so decisive, sir. I hardly ever see you wrapped up in your thoughts like this.
Lost, huh? He was right. I was lost. No, not quite. I was still deciding whether my premonition was wrong or not. What if she's my...
Are you thinking about her?
He's oddly sharp-witted as always. I was impressed. Having you worry about me is a little like having a severe illness.
You don't have to put it that way, man. But that's more like you, sir. I'll let it slide.
Sorry to make you worry, and thanks.
Are you sure you don't have a fever? You could take the day off. Let me cover for you.
To express my gratitude for my cheeky and endlessly amusing partner, I wrapped my arm around his neck.
Sir!
And then I started squeezing.
Yeah! Sir, you're choking me!
It's what you wanted!
I can't breathe! Gonna die!
You'll be fine. This isn't enough to kill you, Yoshinori. Once I felt like I properly expressed my gratitude, I let him go.
That was his thanks.
I can only take so much. Oh, hey, isn't that Miss Hoshino?
Ah, Ichika to save the day. You're saved, Yoshinori. He won't be shoving any sea cucumber chips into your mouth today. At least not at the moment.
It's been a while since she came to the office. I'm sure you'll cheer up if you talk to her. Hey, Miss Hoshi. My neck's gonna snap. Again, sir? What's with the choking? Be quiet. I will if you let me go. Please. Phew. Poor kid.
Keeping an eye on Yoshinori, I sighed and rested against the wall again. My eyes followed the path she'd taken. To think she'd come to the office even after that happened. I guess she still hasn't given up. The premonition I'd had was growing stronger. Guess I'll have to meet her and see for myself.
You gonna come eavesdrop outside the window for a while?
Any suspicions I'd had that she might actually be connected to the criminals had pretty much disappeared. Her actions, reactions, and implied thought process had been enough to demonstrate her innocence to me. I wanted to see her in person and remove my remaining doubts.
Then why have you been avoiding me?
I only had one premonition left, if she didn't run from me once I directly put the question to her. If she's the one, she could be the ideal person I'd been seeking.
Your soulmate?
Someone I'd been seeking for a long, long time. The ideal one who would grant my wish. I'm sure of it. My prediction had already become conviction.
Well, they got me curious on that one. Good afternoon. Huh? It was unusual for Yanagi to be the only one in the office. Where's Sasaka and Enomoto?
Some new intel on the June case came in. They've gone out to verify it.
I'm surprised that even Sasaka went to check on it. My mental image of Sasaka was of him permanently attached to a seat in front of his computer, so it was hard to imagine him going outside. Yeah, really. Except for a donut run, maybe. If he couldn't convince Enomoto.
He started arguing with Enomoto over the veracity of the information, and it turned into a war of words, so they left together.
So they could continue the war of words? He does seem pretty short-tempered. Maybe he was actually the type that was easy to provoke.
Sorry, I'm the only one here after we called you.
Please, don't worry about it. I love spending time alone with you. Even if we're not on your route. I sat down on the sofa across from Yanagi. He shrugged his shoulders.
You're looking a little pale. Your messages have been a bit terse lately. I was worried that something had happened.
It has. I considered airing all my worries once I'd gotten here. But now that I had no idea where I should begin. Yanagi sighed softly as he saw me struggling to break the silence.
Just a second.
He got up and went to the kitchen. After a couple minutes, Yanagi returned with a coffee mug. Oh, that smells like... I thought he'd brewed me tea, but the mug contained hot cocoa.
Sweet drinks are better when you're tired.
Thank you. I raised the mug so that it hid part of my face. There was plenty of hot cocoa inside. That sounds good, even though it's like super hot right now. It still sounds good. I took a sip, sighed, and instantly felt more at ease.
Would you mind telling me what's wrong? You don't have to if it's too difficult.
Buoyed by Yanagi's kindness, I slowly opened my mouth. The truth is... I explained what Sugawara had said, and how Okazaki had found out about the collar.
I see.
Yanagi murmured, sinking into silent thought. In the end, even though Sugawara and Ogata were arrested, we couldn't gain any leads on Adonis. Meanwhile, the casualties keep rising. And I realized this from the way Okazaki reacted. I might lead the way to solving the case, but I'm throwing off the investigation. I wonder if we can really solve the X-Day cases. Even though I knew the terrorists were listening via the collar, I couldn't help but express lament. Once the words started coming, they just wouldn't stop flowing out. Now that I've thrust myself into the thick of it, I know that this won't wrap itself up neatly. I talked confidently about being able to listen to what people are saying, but I couldn't even have a proper conversation with Sugawara. I don't have a grasp of the truth of the crimes, All I'm learning is how complacent the police have been. I sighed deeply. Yanagi rose from his seat and came over to sit down next to me.
Hey.
He poked me in the forehead. Ow!
I completely understand that you want to complain, and that you're anxious and terrified. But it's all over if you give up now. Nothing good will happen if someone doesn't shed some light on the collar and these crimes. We're going to do whatever we can, but if you give up, it's useless, right?
Yanagi.
Don't give up. If you think you're going to fall, then you can lean on me.
Oh.
So, don't give up, no matter what.
Don't be sweet to me into somebody else's route. His repeated impassioned insistence that I refused to surrender sank deeply into my exhausted mind. He's right. I can't give up. It's all over if I do. Thank you. I absolutely won't give in. Yanagi nodded with satisfaction at my answer and returned to his former seat.
By the way, as far as Okazaki goes...
I twitched as Yanagi mentioned his name out of the blue.
The people in the SP are somewhat special. For their physical and mental skills, obviously, but the SP also prizes self-sacrifice from them. It's an occupation where you might need to throw your life away to protect your principal.
Yes, I know.
But that isn't always a good thing. The SP protects VIPs and people in danger. They prioritize their principal above all else. They'll lay down their own lives for the mission, and they may even sacrifice other things, like possibly overlooking civilian casualties.
Yanagi's description made me distinctly aware of how unique the SP was.
Maybe that's how the police should be, but I can't compromise my ideals like that.
Yanagi's complicated expression was pained, and he folded his hands.
For example, what if your family is in danger, but you also need to protect the life of a VIP? Anyone would hesitate in that situation, but not the SP.
I gave some thought to Yanagi's words. For instance, if Okazaki's principal and I were in the same place, and I was held at gunpoint, Okazaki would protect his principal. That was obvious. As an SP, he was committed to the mission. The altercation at Sugawara's was the same. He hadn't hesitated to draw his weapon on me when he thought I might be working for the enemy. I understood that, but for some reason it also depressed me.
You should probably steer clear of Okazaki. Now that he knows about your collar, you don't know when he'll report it to the police. I don't think he's a bad guy at the core, but he's thoroughly loyal to his SP duty. I don't think you'll see eye to eye.
You might be right. The more I thought about it, the worse I felt. Perhaps seeing my gloomy expression, Yanagi lightened his tone to try and alter the mood.
I'm sorry that we didn't help you more when we told you to cooperate with us first. I know things are hard at work, but do you want to work together starting tomorrow?
But won't I just slow you down?
Even if you're going to work alone, you're at a point where you don't have any idea how to proceed, right?
Yes. Can't I look at some of the new cases?
Then let me support you. I'd appreciate the help too.
I was happy for the offer, but I hesitated to take him up on it. Why? Maybe that's just an excuse. Just because I miss Okazaki too much. Actually, if I teamed up with Yanagi, I was pretty worried that I just might never get to speak to Okazaki again. I decided not to give him an answer right away, and left the office for today. Alright, Kei, time to make your move. I came outside. When I went outside, the sun had long since set. A chill wind blew from the north. I really don't want to avoid him and stop speaking to him. If I avoided him, I was sure I'd only deepen his suspicions. He's not here, huh? I looked around to check if he was hanging around the office.
Hey, maybe she's looking for you, sir.
Huh? I turned around at the familiar voice. Yoshinari was watching me from an alleyway.
Oh no, she saw us.
With those sparkling eyes, yeah, you seem really surprised.
Look, sir, she's heading right this way. We done goofed. Yoshinari, you little... Man, I bet you'd look pretty sketchy if you fled. What if Miss Hoshino thinks you're a creep? Good work, Yoshinari.
Okazaki walked this way, spurred on by Yoshinari's goading.
Wow, that wind is freezing. I don't want to go out there. Phew, it's cold.
What was he doing? Yoshinari ducked back into the alley. He probably thought he was doing us a romantic favor by leaving us alone.
It's been a week.
Yeah. Okazaki wasn't smiling. He watched me with a slightly tense expression. But he wasn't showing the caution or hostility toward me that I'd expected. Maybe he wasn't in a good mood, but it was still a relief to me.
I have a favor to ask.
I looked up at his quiet voice.
Don't involve yourself with Yanagi's team anymore.
Huh?
I'm sure you've known this for a while, but my mission to protect Yanagi's team from danger is only a facade. My real mission is to observe them and report movements to my superiors.
I suspected that, but it really was true that the police leadership suspected Yanagi's team and deployed Okazaki on false pretenses. They're a group of competent ex-officers. It makes sense to keep tabs on them.
Because you're involved with them, I also need to file a report on you.
That also seemed like common sense, given his mission.
The caller said they'd kill you if I told anyone. It seems they accept my involvement for now, but I know that you could be in danger depending on how things proceed. They're listening to us now, aren't they?
Yes.
Normally, I'd have to report this, and the police would find out about your caller.
Okazaki really had avoided telling anyone because of the warning he'd received from the caller. And now, he was telling me to stay away from Yanagi's group out of concern for my well-being. But I'm stuck with it unless I investigate more. I can't get this caller off alone. I hesitated, unable to answer. Okazaki murmured sadly.
There might come a time when I'm forced to shoot you. Protection and surveillance is my current mission, but I also can't ignore people who are working against the police. If that happens, I won't be able to protect you.
I don't want to run from him. If I say I don't want him to shoot me, it just seems too self-serving. I understand. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shocked, but I could accept what he was saying. On the contrary, I respected his steadfast determination as a police officer. I want to live up to that. If you decide that I'm leading things astray, then I want you to shoot me without hesitation. I'll try not to get any closer to Yanagi's team than I have to, so you won't have to report me. But I'm not going to stop investigating the X-Day cases.
Why?
Well, the conditions the caller imposed upon me, but more than that, because I want to. I want to solve them and fix Shinjuku. I want to protect the people who live here. So, I'm not going to run away. I firmly and clearly stated my determination to Okazaki. I made sure it wouldn't seem like lip service. I purposely gave myself no wiggle room to retreat. The cold wind blew between us. After a while, he quietly whispered,
I found you.
Huh?
It has to be you.
And there's that smile, it's back, finally! Then, he made that smile I knew. No, it was something I'd never seen from him. It was a brilliant smile. Like he'd found a precious treasure. He has.
Right. I got it. You have the right determination.
But that smile only lasted a moment. Immediately, he was back to his usual lazy smile. Huh? I'd only sensed it for an instant, but that smile he displayed, it seemed genuinely, fantastically happy. My determination must have gotten across. Also, Okazaki, I'm sorry for hurting you.
Huh? Why are you apologizing?
Okazaki's words had opened my eyes to the painful truth, and because of that, I'd learned something. I knew now that the real Okazaki was a very kind person. He's helped me so much. I knew that it was hard for him to point a gun at someone he said he'd protect. I'm really sorry for hiding the truth from you, for making you feel bad for reacting to it the way you did. Okazaki blinked. He was clearly surprised. His face told me he hadn't expected an apology. You're incredible, yeah. Huh? There's no need to apologize. In fact, I'm the one who's sorry. Huh? What are you apologizing for? I tilted my head, curious. Okazaki looked up at the sky. Aren't you scared? Not just of the criminal's threats, but because I pointed my gun at you. He slowly asked the question, as if he wanted to be sure I understood him. He directed his gaze back downward until he was staring straight at me. I know you're trying your best, but even I'm worried. Why don't you want to run away? Of course I'm scared. I answered honestly. I'm scared that I don't know how to help, and that I could be killed at any time. Yes, I had always been uneasy and afraid of that. I wondered why this had happened to me. But every time I had felt lost, Okazaki had returned me to reality. With his resolute, straightforward determination, he taught me how to remain rational. It had to be because he had pride in his own work. As a fellow police officer, I wanted to follow his example. I'm a police officer. If there's a chance I'll jeopardize the investigation and cause more casualties as a result, I should absolutely be sacrificed. I think that as a police officer, I need to have that conviction. So, I don't want to give up on helping out in any way that I can. Okazaki was quiet for a while. You're strong. Then, his expression softened, and he spoke with a smile. Okay, I understand. That was all he said. Then Okazaki left before I could stop him. Oh, you're not walking me home? He had completely vanished from the street. Yoshinori ran over in a panic. Eh? Did things go badly? Huh? What a waste. There's no one who can do what he can. Sure, he's merciless in spite of that friendly face, and he's sharper than he looks, and a lot of trouble in all kinds of ways, but... Apparently, Yoshinori had misunderstood things. As I was unsure how to answer, Yoshinori stood up straight. Miss Hoshino. Yes? Oh boy, here it comes. I have something to say. Okay? I really want you to understand Okazaki, miss. He's probably acting weird, because of his relationship with you. Well, I'd like to know more about him too, please. Well, about that, he's really harsh on himself, despite how he acts. At first, I was surprised to see how calm he was all the time. He's got the willpower and drive to finish everything he starts, without exception. Okay, actually, I've got a couple lines into this, but I'm going to cut this off here because we got into a whole new conversation with Yoshinori here, and that's going to be long probably, so. And I made the last video long already. I can't find break times anymore. Alright, well anyway, hope to see you in that next video or some of my other ones, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye bye everybody.